Had fun for a while. Can't remember lyrics. Na 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 na. More than this, there is nothing more than this. Nothing. Mm-hmm. Da 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 da. Mm-hmm. There is nothing. There we go. So I didn't even turn on my washing machine, just for you guys, even though I know that I have no laundry whatsoever. I still want to. I still don't want to have a washing machine clanking away in the background while you're trying to listen. Instead, you can hear an air conditioner. All right, let's see. So we're now on to chapter 59. Ooh, the seventh star is that is the chapter of the book right there, chapter 58. I suppose let's get down to it. These will be short chapters, I believe. So we got all the way to page 481, so I think we got about 20 pages left. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chapter 59. It rained. Everything about the funeral was small. The plot, the casket, and the crowd of boys in their best suits, trying hard to be men. Una had told Father Jonas the funeral would be family only, just her, the last martillo left on earth. Jonas shook his head and said it would be better to let the church handle it. Una had let him, and now she regretted it. Each day was a wide-open wound. There was nothing to do but pick at herself and think of what she could have done differently. She'd woken at 4 a.m. this morning, wishing she didn't have to come here. There was no choice at all. She put on her church shoes and the tired black dress that had seen far too much use. The committal took place in the church graveyard. The boys from the game club served as pallbearers. It was strange to see them serious and dressed in formal clothes. There was Duncan, who'd been so kind when she told him Robin was sick, and promised... Mm-hmm. He'd promised her they wouldn't treat him any differently. Sandy, who looked so strange without his careless grin. Vlad, Chuck, Jeremy, and Brian all cared enough to carry the weight of today and the body of their friend. Bitterly, she remembered complaining about the shiftless boys to Dr. Suarez. Now they were here, carrying her grandson. What a fool she was. The Amsler family had all come, all 8 of them. Barry in jail, Maurer and Hillett, Doran and Sandy, Rachel and Yvonne. 6 children. What a madhouse it must be. Una looked at the casket and felt a terrible envy coil around her. And God blessed them, saying, "Increase and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and rule over the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the air, and all living creatures that move upon the earth." The Amslers had done just that. Una failed. She and Hector had tried and tried, but there was only Lucinda. Poor Lucinda, who'd somehow gotten the worst of both of them. Hector's bad lungs, his lonely, moody nature, Una's hard heart, temper, and pride. There had been trouble since she was 11, and when she ran off, it was no great surprise. They couldn't get through breakfast without a fight. Una blamed herself, but there was plenty on Lucinda, too, mixed up in drugs and failing out of school. Una straightened her posture. There was all the time in the world for bitterness later. Today was for Robin. The rain picked up as Father Jonas began the rite of committal. They paused to put up their umbrellas. Our brother Robin has gone to his rest in the peace of Christ. May the Lord now welcome him to the table of God's children in heaven. She thought of Robin at her kitchen table, choking on scrambled eggs. She remembered his fingers, blue with paint from the endless clay birds. His little head down on the newspaper, hair falling off like dandelion fluff. Why not me? She clung to the anger, the only thing that kept her upright. This was the real reason she hadn't wanted these people around. She didn't want to weep in front of strangers. God of endless ages, through disobedience to your law we fell from grace, and death entered the world. So much death. Hector and Lucinda. The 3 other babies Una had failed to carry to term. The abortion she still hated Lucinda for. So many more. All pouring on her, all the time. Why was she still here? How could anyone stand it? She looked around the funeral, all the somber faces shadowed beneath the umbrellas. She wanted to shake them, to ask them how they could take it. How could anyone see this and not scream? Her breath caught. She dug her nails into her palms. Somehow she made it through. Go in the peace of Christ. Thanks be to God, Una gave a hollow reply. The storm broke up with the funeral. In the distance, shafts of sun broke through and shone down on Albuquerque. The pallbearers were nervous to face her. Duncan's Adam apple bobbed in his throat as she approached. It was Vlad who spoke. He wore his best suit. He'd shaved his scraggly beard and tied his hair back. We're lucky to have known him. He was a tough opponent and a good kid. Nuestro más sentido pésame, Dona Martillo. Los acompañamos en su dolor. Our condolences, Miss Martillo. We are with you in your pain. Una nodded. He'd spent some time on that. Vlad must have spent some time on that. He cleaned up well for the funeral. It was hard to believe this was the slob she'd sniffed at the day this all began. His accent wasn't half bad either. Se les agradece de corazón. Thank you all, from the heart. Thank you all, from my heart. Una spoke, and then translated for the boys. Una spoke to Vlad and then translated for the other boys. The others struggled. But each managed to force out something small and polite about Robin. Sandy Amsler looked like he was about 3 seconds away from sobbing. He was a good painter. He would have been really great, Sandy squeaked. He loved all the lessons you gave him. All of you were a great solace to Robin. Your games let him forget. Thank you. She left them with her eyes wet and went to thank the other Amslers. Barry Amsler was gray and shaken. Jill and Yvonne had red eyes. There were things in Una's handbag that she had to give out. Robin asked me to give you this. She gave Yvonne a letter in a sealed envelope. The urge to steam it open and read was unbearable, but Una had resisted. She only hoped he hadn't written anything too wild. Yvonne accepted the letter as if Una had offered her a knife, blade first. Una turned to Sandy. Robin didn't have time to make many friends in Albuquerque. Thank you for being so kind to him. You were a tremendous comfort. He wanted you to have this. Wrapped in a grocery bag were Robin's diary and his Cruz Azul baseball cap. Sandy thanked Una. He opened the bag, took out the hat, and held it until his eyes teared up. Then he ran to the edge of the cemetery and bawled against a locust tree. Jail Amsler moved to comfort him, but Barry held her back. Give him a sec. Jail made a face. Una felt awful, handing out these mementos that hurt so much. It was what Robin had wanted. He left her instructions with his farewell letter, written on a sheet of graph paper torn from his composition book. The last will and testament of a 13-year-old. She turned to Duncan. Robin asked me to thank you for being so welcoming to him. Your game club was such a comfort. He looked forward to playing so much every week. Your calls kept him going through treatment. Thank you. I was happy to do it. He was such a smart kid and a good sport. He tried really hard every game. He was grateful in victory and defeat. Honestly, he was one of the best players I've ever seen. I really mean that. Do you still have his little army? Maybe you could loan it out to others, the way you helped him. It's already arranged. The store bought Robin's army. It's going to be in the display case for anyone to borrow. We're going to have his picture and his story, too, if that's okay with you. Vlad wrote an article about Robin for the magazine. I would like to read it when it comes out. I'll send you a copy for sure. Also, Robin wanted me to give this to you. Duncan held out an envelope. It's not necessary. Una stiffened up. It was hard enough to hand out these barbed gifts. She didn't think she could take it. He told me you'd say that. He asked if you would please take this anyway. He said he wanted so much to go with you, but this is the best he could do. She scowled and accepted the blue and white envelope. It's such a pleasure to take the bus and leave the driving to us. There was money inside. All the birds they'd spent and then some. Then there was a round-trip bus ticket to Zacatecas. Una shut her eyes tight and tucked the envelope against her chest. Anger flashed and plunged so swiftly into sorrow she thought she might drown. She fought to keep a sob down. Thank you. It was all she could do not to weep against the tree like Sandy. She didn't want to take the ticket or Duncan's money, but she had no choice. She'd been outplayed. Our campaign ends this weekend. Robin helped me write the final scenario. We talked it over. The Heartbroken Brigade will play in his memory to complete the story. Who's going to play for him? Una asked. Duncan nodded at Sandy. Jail had caved and gone over to give Sandy some tissues. Jail had caved and gone over to give him some tissues. Sandy honked as he blew his nose. Can he beat Vlad? We'll see, Duncan hedged. Una waited until Sandy had composed himself, then caught his eye. Win, she ordered him. He could only nod. Father Jonas was waiting patiently. Una hobbled his way with a grimace. The rain bothered her hip. In the end, she was glad she'd listened to him. It was a beautiful service. Damn. Hold on, before I go to the next chapter, I want to make sure of something. I want to make sure I don't use the same ending for Robin the Prodigy that I use for Lemon Maybe and the Electric Lady. Yeah, you'll find yourself as you're writing, doing that. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. Any day now. They say every man needs protection. They say every man must fall. And yet I swear I see my reflection staring at me from the wall. I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now. Any day now. Dun, 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 dun. I can't believe it's 2 years. This is the last chapter right here. I like the, so if you watch this later, there's a chapter a little earlier where Una recollects taking the Greyhound bus out to, I don't know if he's in Salina. Yeah, he's at Fort Ord to visit Hector at Fort Ord, and she takes the Greyhound bus with those things there. So it's a little extra. All right, I think we got both those chapters up. Done. Outplayed. And the last one is just a fantasy chapter. Wait, hold on. Ooh. So, let me take a gander. Nope. Nice. So I did not inadvertently write the same chapter twice. Praise Allah. Chapter 60. The moon gate was torn in half by the avalanche. 2 wizards stood on the jagged vista and observed the bedlam below. The heartbroken brigade fought bravely, as always, but the Black Haw outnumbered them impossibly. And these were just the... These were only the dregs that were left. The great bulk of the Black Haw horde lay drowned at the bottom of the poison river. Red death rotted the survivors inside. The survivors were all sick and dying. Red death rotted their insides. Still, the horde came forward, driven by Black Baw's implacable will. The goblins battered against the barricades, bloody before the battle even began. The shield-bearers shuddered against a wave of stained goblins and hammered them back. Hilg was at the fore, churning grief into molten rage. Suffren fought beside him. Green blood flew from his hammer like a fountain. Each swing shattered a goblin, but it did not matter. No matter how many... Each swing shattered a goblin, but it was never enough. No matter how many he slayed, there were more to take their place. Behind them, the Hawkmoon picked their shots, careful to make every arrow count. The halberdiers were everywhere, rushing into each breach to drive the Greenskrins back. Potboy's veterans were spread throughout, ready to skewer any recruit who lost his nerve. There could be no retreat. It was do or die. They were not alone. The Windsworn fought side by side with their former foes. Once more, the Windsworn fought side by side with their former foes. There were no borders anymore, no allegiance greater than man against monster, life against death. On those great stone steps, the Windsworn warriors spent themselves without hope of victory. They threw themselves into the fray savagely, hoping only that some skald might sing of their deaths. Above them all, the wizards readied their gambit. Are you certain, old friend? The Rune King asked. Lines of green-white fire traced from his fingers, wound together and wove into a pattern of ever-descending complexity. He is, Bobbert said. The sacrifice they made must be repaid. And what of you, boy? I have decided, Bobbert agreed. How strange to be so afraid, but so free. It's the only way. Then may the sacred geometries carry you to your goal. I will see you soon enough. No, you won't, rued Bobbert and Abaxios. They were of one mind, one soul, one purpose. The runes wound down in an endless spiral that stretched into a tunnel of light. Into a tunnel of green flame. The reconcilers stepped into the blinding light. The war room was packed around the spectacular battlefield. Every member of the Lords of Misfortune was packed around the spectacular battlefield. Every member of the Lords of Misfortune was packed around the spectacular landscape. They'd all pitched in to build a blood-flooded battlefield for the final battle of the campaign. After the death of the Red Lament and the cataclysmic shattering of the Sky Iris, the Viridian River ran red as an artery. The Valley of Six Mists was a slaughterhouse of ruddy muck and bloody bogs. On Sandy's side of the table, stark bands of red epoxy stain showed where the high water mark lapped at the base of the Dwarven fortifications. Duncan had cleaned out his entire inventory of model foliage to blanket the battlefield with uprooted trees and debris. Chuck had collected twigs and built a Chuck had collected twigs and built a Chuck built tangled stockade walls between the unfinished sections to represent the Heartbroken Brigade's last-ditch defense against the corrupted... Chuck built tangled stockade walls between the unfinished sections of the fortress. This was the Heartbroken Brigade's last-ditch defense against the corrupted Blackaw horde. Vlad had warned the whole club he intended to play for real. If Sandy wanted to win to honor Robin, he would have to earn it. Everyone agreed it's what he would have wanted. Vlad had spent days reconfiguring his army and devised the most brutal list possible. A new pact with Chaos Manifest was the key to his strategy. Vlad had replaced... Duke Vlad had replaced all the units that were hit hardest by the ballot. See, you used to be able to use the term... well, in modern day, we could use the term nerf, but Vlad had replaced all the units that were hit by the balance changes with a regiment of traitor knights led by Duke Yamon. He repainted his own command section to reflect the pact with the Black Princes. The goblin armor was blackened now, lined with crimson trim. A hole was burned through the Bad Moon's standard, an emptiness to reflect the hollow countenance of the Void herself. Vlad lavished points on Blakaba Ba, granting the tainted Maja both Mark of the Black-Handed One and the Accursed Male. Vlad modeled... He modeled the sharp ebon scales of the cursed armor, so they tore through the Maja's robe and fused into his green skin. A set of curling horns were grafted onto his brow, and the mutations were outlined with hair-thin rainbows. Vlad had crushed mica into his paint to create pearlescent violet and ultramarine. Even Sandy couldn't hide his admiration. As they set up their armies, the backline was clearly at the front of Vlad's strategy. Goblin morale was miserable now. A lost general meant almost certain defeat. If Hermione could open a rune gate into the command section and send in Ureg the Whirlwind, Blakaba Ba would be in terrible trouble. To stop this, Vlad surrounded Blakaba with mad shaman to ward off streak shots from the Hawkmoon and elite Crush-a-Nug thugs to handle Ureg and his dervishes. Without Burback Breakbow or Cinnabanathi, Sandy would need a minor miracle to break through Blakaba's accursed male. So long as the Maja kept the horde's fervor high, the goblin tide would eventually grind the defenders to dust. For the first 2 turns, fortune favored chaos. Sandy played cautiously and shrank back in a battle of attrition he couldn't possibly win. Blakaba dispelled each rune gate, and the goblins laid waste to the badly outnumbered Imperial halberdiers. The invaders soon fought their way right up to the makeshift barricades. Vlad sent in Yamon's traitor knights armed with Holocaust vials. Soon half of the fortifications were ablaze. The defenders fought on, unshaken. Turn 3 was a catastrophe for Sandy. Yamon broke through into melee combat with Brendan the Emissary and slew him with a triple crit. Potboy's halberdiers were shaken, just 1 wound away from breaking. Victory was inches away. The war room groaned and shouted advice. Sandy was getting clobbered. At the end of his turn, Vlad called a timeout and double-checked everything. Next turn, Sandy would almost certainly have enough magic cards left to force a rune gate through. No use trying to dispel it now. If Ureg rolled something crazy and managed to kill Blakaba, he would get an avalanche of victory points. If the goblins failed their morale roll after, everything could still fall apart. Carefully, Vlad set his shamans into an entranced chant to buff their missile defense. He put Blakaba's bodyguards in retaliate so they could attack right away if Ureg teleported in. For his last action, Vlad had Blakaba try to cast Mind Wipe against Abaxios Osloon. Even though Abaxios had a much higher sorcery stat, there was a slim chance Blakaba could succeed and drain some magic cards. As expected, it failed badly. Sandy got a free magic action in response. His face lit up. "Hey Vlad, watch this." He laid down Abaxios Osloon's ultimate card. Ultimum Perfugium Stultorum. Vlad squinted at the unexpected mood, and confusion swept through the war room. Now, every attack roll within 24 inches of Abaxios would be a critical failure, including the attacks of his own troops. It would stop the goblin advance until the effect ended, but it could not save the heartbroken brigade. Vlad could simply hold down ground and rain down arrows on the defenders until the effect expired. "Great move, Amsler," Vlad snorted. "Your turn." Sandy laid down a straight of 3 mana cards. His spell could not be countered. "I cast Runegate on Abaxios Osloon," Sandy announced. Vlad blinked in surprise. Murmurs raced around the room, and everyone tried to figure out what was happening. Sandy set the Reconciler right in front of Blakaba, so the tiny figure was staring right up into the warlord's ugly face. "Oh no," Vlad groaned as he realized. "Ha!" Duncan caught on. The presence of an enemy triggered retaliate. The bodyguards were forced to attack, which critically failed, causing them to strike the nearest ally. They hacked themselves apart, and one even wounded Blakaba in the confusion. But the worst was yet to come. Abaxios activates the Black Scroll. No, Vlad breathed. He stood up from his chair suddenly. My shamans cast Dispel. Wait, I can't. The shamans were stuck in entranced chant. Blakaba couldn't attack Aslun. The Black Scroll itself counted as an attack, so it critically failed with an automatic 0-1 on the disaster chart. Duncan had the rule binder open already. He read aloud for the room. 0-1. Rent in reality. Destroy all units and structures within 2d10 inches. No saves possible. Nothing can prevent this effect, Duncan boomed. Laughter broke out and built into a howl when Sandy rolled a pair of 9s. The singularity was enormous. Vlad's entire command and all of his archers were sucked into the rift in the fabric of the reel. Abaxios Aslun and Blakaba Ba were drawn together into a profound nothing without beginning or end. Duncan removed the models to the next table. Vlad looked down at the empty space in shock. That is the biggest cheese I have ever seen, Vlad said. I concede. The war room roared so This is capital. Roared so loud their ears hurt. Everyone was shouting at once. Wait, wait, Sandy cried out. You got to see this. Sandy held up Diario de Martillo. Everyone hushed up to look. Sandy flipped to the final page and handed it to Vlad. The last stand of the Heartbroken Brigade. Vlad's eyes raced across the page. Look at this. He predicted I would bring in a chaos detachment. He picked out my whole army. He held up the Diario. Robin had predicted Vlad's army list down to the last model. He'd guessed both the boons on Blakaba Ba. Underneath, he had planned out the battle in tiny forking lines of notation that instructed Sandy how to react to each maneuver. Everything Sandy did was a delaying tactic, buying time to build up enough magic cards to set off the surprise nuke. At the bottom of the page it said, Dear Vlad, gotcha. Sincerely, Robin Martillo. So this should all be in italics. Ese pinche pendejito. Pendejito. That little devil. That's not what that means. Vlad shook his head. The war room rang with laughter. Shook with laughter. When it faded away, a hard silence took its place. Vlad took a deep breath through his nose. His eyes were wet. Gonna miss that kid. I'm gonna miss that kid. The end. 2 years of hard work. God damn. I worked so much harder on this one than any other book that I've done, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I love that ending. The ultimate cheese at the end. Ugh. That is wild. Alright, so the last 1,500 words for Outplayed. What was I going to call this final chapter? Oh, yeah, this is it. The last stand of the Heartbroken Brigade. Yeah. And then this needs to be... put some emphasis on this cat. Ooh, can't believe we finished it. All right, let me do one more thing. I kind of like that. Like, this is ending the way that it began, with me just all alone. Just me against the world. Though, like, can't forget about all the help that I got along the way. So many good edits sent in from people. Uh, let's see. Let me find a picture that I can use for this. All right, cool. All right, so there's that. Let's see if I have any photos that. Oh, you know what? I've got at least one in here. Wow, and I've been working on this edit for 24 days, but really I've been, yeah, I suppose, so 60 chapters. We just got like a little over 2 chapters a day. Yeah, I'm not really. I guess this one here. Oh wait, I can, maybe I can go to the continue. Everyone, everyone, everyone now. And then maybe I can use the Substack app. Mm-hmm. For you following. Okay, can I edit this? No, I cannot. Okay. Well, screw it. I won't add an image then. But yeah, that pretty much does it. I don't know what the hell to do with myself now. This is my singular purpose for 2 years straight. I want to say, let's take a look at what this all came out to. So this is the final, I guess, tally for everybody. I don't need to be in studio mode. Let me see. So let's go back here to the leaderboard. And then, so the final tally is going to be, I can't believe CJ edged out Sloth here. I was actually touched to see EFS Enable, who was a special needs chatter, get in on there. So Logic is the victor, Agatha with 24, CJ with 13 edits, all in one day. She was really hammering me about having butt at the beginning of lines. This Sloth with 12. We got Stratum got in for 5. Stratum and Mantis were both retired chatters that nonetheless joined up to help me out here. And EFS Enable, who does whatever. The final number of times that I cursed was 44, where I was caught. I think I got away with a few more that were like under my breath or something like that. So this is Robin the Prodigy. If you enjoyed this story, tell a friend, because Lord knows I'm not marketing this. And I'm happy to hear all of your feedback. If you like this, you can just leave a comment on this YouTube, or you can just email me at zach@zachzyz.com. Man, I never know what to do at the end of these. So I go into a pretty severe depression after a book is published for about 2 weeks. It just, losing that purpose is tough. It really is. I put everything into these things, and then when it's done, I'm adrift. But there are more books to come. I'm still working on Master Arcanist, which you can find on Royal Load, which I really need to edit and so forth. And then, so the next steps for this book are it will go to um, two people who might potentially edit it. And I'll see what their bids are to do it. And then I will pay somebody to do a full edit of this thing. And then once that's all said and done, I will commit their edits, do like another proofreading pass, and then I will typeset it. I will come up with a new cover and potentially a new title for it. So I think this one's not truly hidden the way that it used to be. And then I don't know. I might try to shop it around to an agent or something like that. But it's so hard, you know. I feel like there's a lot of value here, but it may just be value for me and like the very few people who read these things. But that is enough for me. I'm happy I did this. Like I'll be even happier like when I have like the finished book and I can hold it in my hand and so forth. But it really is its own reward at the end of the day. And like maybe I'm just saying that, but honestly, when I'm like doing these final chapters and something, I feel something. I feel like there's something here. So that's enough for me. Like, and on this one more and more. One, just because like the proofreading tools are so much better now. And I feel like my grasp of like writing is getting better with each one of these stories. This is tighter than a lot of stuff that I had. I have like new tools for pacing and so forth. Very happy with how this came out. And now I'm going to go do some analysis on the completed manuscript. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. All right, and I'm happy to send it out and so forth. And yeah, man, it's going to be pretty solid overall. So I will save a version of this that I can chop up and send out to people and so forth. And luckily, got like a lot more work to do. And then I'm going to get rip-roaring drunk, almost for sure. Just to, maybe I'll wait a couple days though. But at some point, that's for sure coming. Because God, I've been, there's a lot of things that I set aside to put out this book. Like different things that I could have done while I was working on it there. And in the final analysis, like all art is, if you want to call this art, but all of that is transmuting your life, your precious time that you can never get back, into something that is dead. That this book will never be alive. But writing is a little bit different because it can sometimes be alive in the minds of the people who read it. The ideal is that eventually they can get something larger from this than what I put into it. And in some cases, maybe it will echo on from those people. Maybe that little bit of joy will have a chain reaction to other things there. But at the end of the day, these are science fiction books. It is what it is. But this one seems unusually beautiful to me.